Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming this evening here to take association of His Grace Kanai Thakura Prabhuji. He just arrived directly from Bombay to Portland this afternoon.
See, he had full meal and then he was sleeping, and that's why he's late.
There's no late, Prabhuji. Thank you. Prabhuji joined as a brahmachari in ISKCON Pune back in 2004. Prior to that, Prabhuji worked in multi. After completing his MBA from Symbiosis, Pune, then he thought, he wants to continue his life as a brahmachari. Since then, Prabhuji is involved in many services. He also teaches BhaktiShastri, as you all know, also BhaktiVaibhava, is a Srimad Bhagavatam study. So Prabhuji is here. We're very fortunate to have his association. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So thank you very much. Anybody aware? Tit for tat. And Prabhupada uses this phrase, if I can call it, in a purport to 1st Canto, 18th chapter, 30th verse. And we'll discuss something on that today. Okay, so this is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter 18, chapter entitled Parikshit Cursed by a Brahmana Boy. And this is text 30. Okay, we'll chant prayers before that. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate BhaktiVedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaurat Vishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinataharinam. Hare Krishna. So I'll recite the verse and read the translation and purport. A very short purport of Srila Prabhupada, but very important lessons. Sat Brahma Rishir Amshe Gatasum Uragam Rusha Vinirgachan Dhanuskotya Nidhaya Puramahagataha. So translation purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. While leaving, the king, being so insulted, picked up a lifeless snake with his bow and angrily placed it on the shoulder of the sage. Then he returned to his palace. Purport. The king thus treated the sage tit for tat. Although he was never accustomed to such silly actions. By the will of the Lord, the king, while going away, found a dead snake in front of him. And he thought that the sage who had coldly received him thus might be coldly rewarded by being offered a garland of a dead snake. In the ordinary course of dealing, this was not very unnatural. But in the case of Maharaja Parikshit's dealing with a Brahmana sage, this was certainly unprecedented. It so happened by the will of the Lord. Okay, so what's happening in the story is here in Srimad Bhagavatam, where Prabhupada is saying the king thus treated the sage tit for tat. Right. So what's happening is that Parikshit Maharaj has gone out on a hunting excursion, and he kind of misses his army, all his people, and he's tired and hungry, lost his way. He comes to a small hermitage. There's a sage is sitting there, and Parikshit Maharaj enters there. He gets down from his horse. The king is walking. Right? So there was noise, good noise, everything was happened. But the sage is in deep meditation. But then when you are in need, of something, you start expecting from others. Why is the world not providing me? Why are they not helping me? They have it. I don't even need, I should not even need to speak it out. People should give me. Why were you not there? Right? I have done so much for everyone. When I need, nobody helps. All this thing happens. The king enters the hermitage, he sees the sage, and because the king is thirsty, hungry, the king is thinking, Aak to khol. Open your eyes, man. Look at me. The emperor is here. Right? But the sage is in meditation. And the king finds, okay, I can't ask anything of him in case he's meditating. In case he may be or may not be, whatever, I go back. I go away from here. This is disrespect of a king. So he goes. But then what happens? He felt insulted. And when you feel insulted, there's a tendency, I will give back in the same coin. Tit for tat. Yes. Very. Prabhupada is saying, I'll read for you once again. In the ordinary course of dealing, this was not very unnatural. Ordinary people, they will do this only. Their life goes around like that only. But Parikshit Maharaj, what did he do? Parikshit Maharaj, by leaving, he thought, I deserved a garland, at least. See? I deserved a garland, at least. The king is here. But he didn't. Or at least I deserved, a seat. I deserved some good words. I deserved a garland. But I was not offered that here. So while leaving, what happens? He sees a dead snake. And what does the king do? He takes an arrow, picks up the dead snake. I was not garlanded. I will garland the sage now. With what? With a dead snake. Anybody amongst you would do that to anybody? Unprecedented. Nobody will do it. Nobody will ever behave with anyone like this. But the king picked up the dead snake and put it around the neck of the sage. Now, there are so many scriptures in the form of Vedas. In the way we have the Vedas, the 4 Vedas, we have Upanishads, we have Vedanta Sutra, we have Mahabharata, we have the 18 Puranas, we have the Ramayana, so much literature we have, but yet Srimad Bhagavatam is very special. Right? Dharma prochita kaitavo atra parama nirmatsaranam satam. Right? Parama nirmatsaranam satam. This scripture, all the cheating dharmas, anything that could be cheating on the path of dharma, has been kicked out. Vyasdev says in the very second verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. What does it mean? Was there, in the other scriptures, what was there? There could be something less offered there, even in the form, even as dharma. But Srimad Bhagavatam keeps it very, very pure. But once again, question should come then, why is this interaction there in Bhagavatam? Tit for tat. Ordinary course of dealing, right? Why should this be there? Right? This is there because all the scriptures, right, what is there? Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. You've heard of this verse in Bhagavad Gita? Anybody? Right. Traigunya Vishaya Veda. The Vedas only deal with the 3 modes. Traigunya Vishaya Veda. And the very next line, Krishna says, Nistraigunyo Bhava Arjuna. Arjuna, go beyond the 3 modes. So all the scriptures Vyasdev has given, thinking of people within modes, what should we offer to them so that little by little, slowly they'll rise beyond the modes. Srimad Bhagavatam is the scripture which is beyond the modes. Right? So there's a nice verse. This is Niti Shastra verse actually, which says Maharane Sastra Britam Pariksha. Everyone will be tested. Right? If somebody claims, I'm a Kshatriya, I'm a fighter, come to the battle, and your valor will be tested there. Right? Then Apatti Kale Grihini Pariksha. When the home goes through some troubled phase, that time Grihini. What would you call a Grihini in English? Housewife. A homemaker. She will be tested at that time. You buy gold. How do you test gold? Fire. The gold is tested by fire. A Kshatriya, a fighter, gets tested in a battle. A homemaker gets tested when the home goes through some troubled times. And if you have jnana, if you have knowledge, this verse says, come to Bhagavatam. You will be tested here. Not any other scripture. Just as gold goes through tests by fire, right? You have a Kshatriya tested in the battlefield. You have a Grihini tested during the bad times, we can say like that. Similarly, if you have jnana, knowledge, this verse is, come to Bhagavatam. This is where the test is. What happens? The behavior is not good. Tit for tat. But the lesson is great. What happens here does not happen in the general parlance. So what happens here is, after the tit for tat behavior, what is the response? That is Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? How did the spiritual practitioner respond? The most ideal response in worldly situations. How do the Vaishnava respond? That is Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, you like small stories in between here and there? One time there were 2 friends. These friends, one fox and one crane. Good friends. One time the fox invited the crane home for lunch. And when the crane visited, the fox, he served the prashadam or the food, whatever they eat. He served the food in a plate. One plate for the friend and one plate for himself. And the fox started eating. But the crane thought, what? I have a long beak. How do I eat from a flat plate? I cannot. And the crane felt insulted. Now when the crane went back home, that was not friendship. Now I will show him. Right? The other day, the crane invited the fox for food. And what did the crane do this time? He prepared soup, and the soup was served in a cylindrical jug like that, jar. One for the fox and one for himself. And the crane put its beak in and went on eating. And the fox is saying, what do I do here? Right? What did the crane end up doing? Tit for tat. In ordinary dealings, this is very common. Right? You find Krishna helped Pandavas to make a wonderful, Indraprastha, beautiful city, beautiful palaces. And Duryodhan came. Kya kiya? What have they achieved? We had given them Varanavata, but they made Indraprastha out of it. I want to go and see. And when Duryodhan was going around, at a particular place, he thought it is water, but it was not. Right? And another place, he thought, no, it's just floor, and there was water. He was mesmerized, but he fell into the water. But when he fell into the water, Draupadi laughed, giggled, not laughed, giggled. And that was so much for Duryodhan's ego. And when Draupadi giggled, what was the reason Draupadi giggled? Because Bhima, he said, "Oh Dhritarashtra Putra, दिखा नहीं क्या?" समझा? अंधे का बेटा, धृतराष्ट्र इज ब्लाइंड, तुमको दिखा नहीं, बाप को अंधा कर दिया. Something like that was spoken. And Dhritarashtra Putra, and Draupadi giggled. That was sufficient for Duryodhan. Tit for tat. I will do that now. When it was the Swayamvara of Draupadi, every best of the Kshatriya was there, who felt, yes, Draupadi, I should get Draupadi. Karna was also there. And Krishna, hinted at Draupadi. Not, he should not be. And Draupadi said, this is Swayamvara. I am supposed to be choosing my, groom, not for Karna. He's not from Kshatriya class. Oh, that was, for his ego, it was such a punch. It was Karna later who said, what? Duryodhan, they have lost Draupadi already. These Pandavas, they have lost her. Bring her. Instruct Dushasan that Draupadi should be brought right here in the assembly. What was this behavior? Tit for? But something like that is happening here. Dead snake, right? So now when this is offered, Srila Prabhupada, in the very first line of the purport, he says, although he was never accustomed to such silly action, Prabhupada calls it silly. Not good. What is this tit for tat behavior? Now, I will put a question to all of you. In our life, if somebody does something like that to us, why do we end up behaving in a tit for tat manner? What do we achieve out of it? Anybody? So what happens to the falsehood? We try to satisfy our punctured ego. We feel it is punctured. So our ego gets punctured and we try to, puncture wala ban jate hum log. Right? Anything else? Anyone else? Why do we tend to kind of settle scores? We get my brain. Also enjoy. That's the game, we say. Yes. Why do we end up for that behavior? I want you also to contribute in the discussion. Let it sink in. Because by the time tomorrow's program also, where are we going to have the program? Okay. I'm going to discuss the solutions there, not today. Right? Yes. Why do we end up behaving tit for tat? What do we achieve out of it? There is something deep that's going on here. Right? It's just not, small kids playing. It is something deep. Very good. I want that person to experience, what I went through because of you. You also undergo like how you experience it. Anything else? Okay, just because there was no other way I could have, displayed it to you. There is no other way, right? You hit me, I'll hit you. Right? Anything else? Let that person learn a good lesson of life. I asked this question one time to somebody, and this guest told me, I want this person to experience the same pain so that he will not behave like that with anyone else later. Long-term plan. Right? Not just me. This guy will be careful anytime. Anytime in this life. He'll never behave like that with anybody. Anything else? What could impel us? What is there that, see, unless we, ask ourselves these questions, this topic, right, it will never touch our heart. We'll never be able to understand this simple purport of Srila Prabhupada, where Prabhupada says, silly behavior. Why do we act silly? So unless we ask these questions to ourselves, that this action is silly, right? That tit for tat, I should not be doing it. But why did I do it? What did I achieve it out of it? What did I get out of it? Right? Yes, continue. Yes. Very good. Very good. This was a good answer. A sense of justice. Right? Just justice was meted here. Yes. Very good. He did one, -1, -1. Right? The score is even now. I lost it. Now this guy lost it. Yes. Justice. Anything else? Yes. Action, reaction. I'll offer reaction. This person acted. Now I will react. Right? Yes. You all do it, right? You all do behave like that, right? We are silly people, right? Our name is not in Bhagavatam, right? If our name was in Bhagavatam, that means we were great people. If we are not in Bhagavatam, that means we all must be somewhere around that. And it happens so often. And with very people we live day in and day out, we call them our close relatives, our friends. We behave like, it's not that how many of us can count enemies. Hardly we have enemies or anybody like that. But whoever we have, whatever level of friends they are, we behave like that. Right? How many of you are married here? Because I am not. I'm a brahmachari practicing. That's why I'm asking all of you. All of you who married, especially in India and Maharashtra, where I grew up. Anybody Maharashtrian? Okay. Mataji, we'll ask Mataji this question. Did you observe in marriages there, people when they bring some gifts, all those gifts that come for the bride and the groom, they're kept at one corner. They do that in Maharashtra. They do that. And then there's a person noting down. Who gave what? And why do they note it down? They gave a glass. What will we give in return? Whenever there is a marriage in that house, glass is what will go. They gave a plate. So plate is what? Right? Something very beautiful. You see, whenever your friends give you gifts, whenever your family members offer you something as gift, they write their name on it, right? They'll put a card with love, with warm regards from. But when your parents offer you something, remember, parents gave you so many things, but they never wrote their name on. They never. With love from father, this T-shirt. With love from father, today's lunch. Why don't they write like that? Why do parents not like? Everyone is writing, right? When they offer you a gift, they write their name somehow or other, some way or other. Why do parents not write? There is no expectations. Is that all? Okay, unconditional love. What else? what a reason was that? इतना करना पड़ता है इनके लिए मालूम क्या? सुबह से रात तक continue 24-hour shift. No, nothing else is going on. Only for these kids. कितना लिखेंगे? थक जाएंगे. Think of it. Krishna offers you so many gifts, and he also doesn't write anything. Every day we go to the garden and we get a red rose. Anybody gives a rose, right? In this world to anybody, they'll with love. Hearts. Just as parents would not write, even Krishna does not. And what happens when parents keep on giving and giving and giving? Children sometimes become spoiled, ungrateful. What big deal? What have they done? Do we do same thing with God? We keep on receiving. We keep on receiving. And then we get educated. And we may say, where is God? What did God do for me? I'm going through so much trouble. Where is God now? But all that you received till date, just as spoiled children, we call them, right? Ungrateful. They have received so much, they never count the blessings. Just because God, unconditional love, God kept on giving. Krishna keeps on giving. And we keep on taking. And then we become spoiled children. Right? Okay. Anything else? Why do you end up behaving tit for tat?
A weakness in
It's a, can you explain? Weakness in the sense?
that means they are
Should not be done.
That weakness makes you to think to do tit for tat.
Okay, it's a weakness.
Just leaving it.
Okay. So Prabhuji is saying that it's a weakness. It is not a good thing to do. But because that weakness is there, I end up behaving like that. Anything else? Anything more? Think of what all you did with your very close relatives, friends. Sometimes we carry this deep hurt in our heart, right? Or sometimes we regret having done something. Why? Why did you do it? What did you achieve out of it? Right? Otherwise, we will not stop this tit for tat behavior, silly behavior Prabhupada is saying. We will never stop it unless we go to the root of it. What satisfaction did I get out of it? Anything more? Okay. I have some which I will read for all of you. See. One thing that you did not say was, we reassert that we are in control. Mother is saying, yes. At home, I am the one. Huh? We reassert our control, right? we want to get even. Right? We said that, right? one very, very important emotion is when a person does something wrong to me, that feeling is there. I didn't deserve it. I did not deserve this. I did not do anything wrong. When I feel I didn't deserve it, now I will do something. Or in American terms, they say payback. It's payback time, right? We behave in a tit for tat manner because it makes us, look like I'm on the higher ground. I'm the one, right? Or we think they deserve this pain that I will put them through. They deserve it. For our own benefit, that this guy will never hurt me in future. He will know. Right? Our protection. Next time, I won't need to take any action. एक बार मैं surgery कर देता हूँ. I'll do the surgeon's job now. He or she will never dare even look at me. Or, like I said, sometimes for reformation of the other person. Let me do something. So, to protect ourselves, to benefit the other person, they will learn a good lesson. All these thoughts go in. So, what is the harm in acting like this? In Parikshit Maharaj's story only, just a few chapters before, Parikshit Maharaj, he goes out for an excursion. No, he just goes out into his kingdom to see how everything is going on. Because Parikshit Maharaj has already seen certain symptoms and he understands that Kali is making its entrance. So Parikshit Maharaj he decides to go out into his kingdom. And one scene he observes that there's a bull and a cow, right? The cow is fearful, right? And the bull, its 3 legs are already cut. It's standing only on 1 leg now, right? And Parikshit, and when one man in black robes, that's how Bhagavatam puts it, black robes, like kingly robe, but a black robe, this person is standing next to them. And here, this has already broken the 3 legs of the bull. Who is that cow? That cow is Mother Earth, and that bull is Dharma, religion personified. And what happens is Parikshit Maharaj comes to them and he asks the bull, who did this to you? What was this question? Who did this to you? He has caught this guy red-handed with the sword. He's the one. So one will say, why was that question even required? But the answer is even more special, because who is answering? Dharma. The bull is answering. Now, this person, Kali, has hurt, right? Not hurt, kind of murder only. 3 legs are already, broken, cut off. But Dharma says, I don't know who did this to me. And if you read that section, most people cannot understand what's going on. What's going on here? Why? Why is Dharma not saying? Dharma gives 7 reasons. Somebody misbehaved, and Dharma, not tit for tat. Dharma, the bull, is saying, I don't even want to point out. I don't even want to utter who did this to me. Right? Why? Because Dharma says, if I point out, then I undergo the same the other guy. The murderer, right? And the one who points out the murderer receives the same punishment. What? Why? Just for pointing it out. And who is answering like this? Dharma is answering. So, 8:41 by my watch. How long do we continue? India time. Right? Still India time. What's the time here? 8? is 10. We continue till what time? Krishna Keshav Prabhu instructs us. Krishna Keshav Prabhu? 30. I have 20 minutes with me. So Dharma, the bull, he did not answer even after being questioned in various ways by Parikshit Maharaj. He's not ready to point out the perpetrator. I'm just wondering what to speak and what not to speak now. So Dharma says, so many people, they've written so many books, and all of them say, we don't know ultimately who is the cause, right? Like in a, we call train bogies. You call it cars, train cars. So go back to India and think of a train car, S9, S8, S7, right? Samsung phones. Moves, it runs, right? So S5 car moved. Why? S6 pulled. How many of you agree? Because pulled S5, that's why S5 moved. How many of you agree? Wasn't it a simple question? You know, S5 car moved because it. Agreed? Or because S7 pulled it? Because the engine pulled it? Who's the cause? Is the cause for S? All of them. So there is something called as immediate cause. There is something called as remote cause. Something called ultimate cause. Most of us in life look at the immediate cause and we come to and behave. Something could be the immediate cause that perceive. If you are sitting in the S5 car, you only see the S6. If you're standing outside the train, you're outside the train, right? You're on the platform, you will be able to see the S7, right? But somebody, station master, he'll say, you see, it's just the vision, right? S5, S6, S7, or the engine. Life, when something happens, what we only catch the immediate cause. We never focus. There must be something called as ultimate cause. Ultimately, everything is in control of Krishna. Right? Because we can causes, we end up doing tit for tat. Right? Like Srila Prabhupada would give example. Sometimes the postman, right, comes with a telegram to you. Oh, you know, somebody passed away in your home. Right? Postman, bad guy. Why did you get me this bad news? You are the bad guy. He's just carrier. He's just the door, and this guy will say, oh, I have got $1 million, reward for you. What do you do with this guy? Keep it. He won't do that. Oh, come in. You're such a good guy. You brought $1 million for me. This guy, either the postman or this person is just the carrier of the message for you. Similarly, when we have interactions with people, they could be this guy could be remote cause. Ultimately, Krishna is moving everyone. And in this whole thing, this person behaving with me, I also could be the cause of it. I may have done something to this person, right? May not be in this life, previous lives. I could be the cause of what I am receiving today. I only I may have sown it today. But when we go through situations, we generally do not think of all these things. And that's the silly behavior, right? So, I have so many ways this can be understood. Okay. So bull, the dharma, the bull tells Parikshit Maharaj, if you name the perpetrator, then you become as guilty as the perpetrator. Right? When you point out, right? So very astonishing statement that way. If I point out, if you name the perpetrator, then Bhagavatam you find example, 6th canto, Chitraketu Maharaj. Right? Chitraketu Maharaj, his son Harsha Shoka he dies up at a very early age, and not have a child. Then by the mercy of Narad Muni, he receives a child. Then the child dies, but like very small, 6 months, baby. And the child actually murdered. And then Chitraketu Maharaj, his story. So now you will say, why should such a story be there in Bhagavatam? But it is there because now when the child passes away, what did Chitraketu Maharaj do? Two personalities. His wife Kritadyuti is involved because the baby as mother, and Maharaj is involved as the father. But there's a difference in behavior. Right? Kritadyuti, dead body of the baby in the hand. She's crying, she's wailing, she's sorrowful. And she says, if there is God, must be, hardly any intelligence, like a child only. A baby die in its parents. Why? Baby should not die like this. And if this is happening, that means there is no God. And see what happens in situations, this faithlessness came out. What does Chitraketu Maharaj do? Chitraketu Maharaj says, this must be my enemy who came again in this life as my baby. I gave trouble, I gave suffering, and the enemy has taken birth. Like sometimes you find people, parents, their children who are like, they give so much trouble and they don't listen. And the parents in India say, Pishle jan he has come back to give trouble, right? I'll just share this one story just to create that effect so that all of them will be there they'll come tomorrow for the solution. What should we do? Right? There is one story in Mahabharata, 3 sisters, Amba, Ambika, 3 princesses. From which kingdom? Yes, Kashi. And Bhishma here in Hastinapur, he decides, I need princesses for, and why does he? So Bhishma goes and to bring these princesses, right, to kind of lift off, to bring them off that also. Now imagine what's going on here. Bhishma is supposed to be a brahmachari. What job is he doing here? Right? Getting the Swayamvar and bring them here. He goes, 3 of them are picked up and put on the chair. One guy, Shalva, giving a good fight. But how could he stand in front of Bhishma? He loses the battle. And ultimately the 3 girls are taken. And by the time the girls are brought to Hastinapur, the eldest of them, Amba, she tells Bhishma, actually, I've already given my heart to him, Shal. I cannot marry any of the Hastinapur's prince. So Bhishma says, "Theek hai, wapas ja. Go back. I'll arrange everything for you to go back." And Amba, I'll go. But by the time she comes back, Shalva says, I cannot accept you now. And he says, you have been touched by Bhishma. He picked you up. Now go to. Now Amba feels that hurt. I was taken like this. I was sent back. And now this guy is saying, go back to Bhishma. He says, who is the cause of this pain for me? She goes to Bhishma. Says, you marry me. Bhishma says, sorry. I'm supposed to be a brahmachari. You should have thought of that before, man. Why did you come for this? Why did you accept such a job? Why did you do such a job at all? Right? But Bhishma does not relent. He says, no. Because Amba feels that hurt inside now. My life has gone for a toss. What wrong did I do? She only sees the cause as Bhishma. What does Amba do? She says, I will take a revenge now. And she goes to, if Bhishma does not listen, Parshuram. I will go to Parshuram. Parshuram will, right? And when she goes to Parshuram, yes, you have come to. How many of you know how many wives or queens did Maharaj have? Excuse me. Wrong. Not just 3. No, it's just not 3 or 4, 253 actually. Yeah. Why? You'll say, kuch kaam dhanda nahi tha. Would just keep on marrying, No. The problem was whenever Parshuram, anybody would go and complain to Parshuram about a Kshatriya. Parshuram comes with his Parushu. This guy has to die. Right? Kshatriyas have become, and any Kshatriya is complained about. Parshuram, incarnation for that purpose. Now, so what would Dasharath Maharaj king do? Who will fight with Parshuram? I'll die only. Parshuram's vow was one vow that if any Kshatriya is sitting in a marriage, then I will not kill him. So whenever he comes, complain, shadi mein baith jao. They were not for marriages. Nobody is, right? But anyways, this was the reason. Now Amba comes to Parshuram and says, help me. Yes, I'm supposed to help. These Kshatriyas. So Amba sought refuge with Parshuram and he orders Bhishma, you have to marry Amba. Right? And Bhishma politely refuses, saying he's ready to give up his life at the command of his teacher, but he cannot give up on the promise, the vow that he has taken in life. Right? And what can Parshuram do? Come on for a battle, fight. Guru will fight with disciple, or disciple will fight with Guru. The battleground prepared. Bhishma was on a chariot, and Parshuram is a Brahmana. He was on foot. Right? He's standing there, and he requests Parshuram, right? You also take a chariot and an armor, because I want it to be an equal fight. So Bhishma said, I don't want unfair advantage. You're my guru, everything is okay, but unfair nahi hona chahiye kuch bhi. But Parshuram says, bless you with a divine vision. And when Bhishma is given the divine vision, Bhishma once again looks at Parshuram. Charioteer. And the Vedic goddesses Gayatri, Savitri, and Saraswati are his armor. And Bhishma gets down from his chariot and he says, wow, my Guru. And he says, I want your blessings. What is the blessings that you want? He says, I should be able to protect Dharma. And he says, I want permission to, to engage in this battle with my teacher. And Parshuram is so pleased. You find even in Mahabharata, this happens. All the bugles and guns, the battle is to begin. And Yudhishthir decides, take the chariot towards the Kaurava. Everyone is, isko kya ho gaya? This guy is so weak. What will he do now? Will he go and say, "Take, we don't want a battle"? Yudhishthir goes to Bhishma and says, I want your blessings for this battle. And Bhishma says, I was just checking on you. What would Yudhishthir do? The Dharmaraj. You still have not given up on taking blessings from your elders. And Bhishma says, Vijay Bhava. May you win. Now everyone feels, ab to wapas aaja. Where does he go next? To Dronacharya. Again falls at his feet and takes his blessings. And Dronacharya says, that's the student. That's Dharmaraj. And he gets blessings from Dronacharya also. What's happening here? Parshuram went to his guru, Bhishma went to his guru Parshuram and seeking on for 23 days. No conclusion. Right? Ultimately, who has been a Vasu before, out of the Ashta Vasus, 8 Vasus, he has been Prabhas in the previous life. And in the previous life, Astra, Pashupati Astra. And no, not Pashupati. Parshva it is Prashvapastra, Prashvapa Astra. When this Astra, this weapon is used, the will feel sleepy and that's how you overpower the opponent. And Parshuram had no knowledge of this one. Bhishma is his student only, but now Bhishma is using. Bhishma is about to, put that arrow and chant the mantra. A voice from the sky warned him, if you use this weapon, Bhishma, it would be a great insult towards your guru, right? And Bhishma stops. And all the Pitris, forefathers, right? Like Jamadagni, who is the father of Parshuram, then his grandfather Ruchika, they all appear in the sky. Tell Parshuram, oh son, never engage in battle with Bhishma or any other Kshatriya here onwards. Heroism and courage in battle are the qualities of a Kshatriya, and study of the Vedas and austerities are the wealth of the Brahmanas. You took up weapons previously to protect the Brahmanas, but this is not the case now. Let this battle with Bhishma be your last. O son of Bhrigu race, it is not possible to defeat Bhishma. That's what Mahabharata, I'm reading from Mahabharata here. Now Narada appears, various demigods appear, and they convince Parshuram, stop the conflict, and the battle is declared as a draw. Now Parshuram, the battle is a draw. Now Parshuram goes to Amba and tells her, you can only seek Bhishma's protection. Help you. I tried. And Amba refuses to listen to Parshuram's advice. She leaves angrily, declaring, I cannot punish Bhishma in this life. It's not going to end. Next life, and the next life, and the next life. Let me take birth for as many lives it is needed. And gives her a boon. Next birth, you will born as Shikhandi. With your memory already there about Bhishma. So from birth, Shikhandi was always plotting, I have to take revenge. I have to take revenge. Okay. So we end today's discussion with one question. Whom did Amba harm? Who answered? who could not wait tomorrow. Whom did she harm by that vengeance, by the tit for tat behavior? Herself. How? Yes. She had to keep on taking births. Going to liberate us. It will ensure that we remain in this world to continue settling scores, and that match never gets over. Right? We harm ourselves when we harbor this tit for tat behavior. You could do that now. Tit for tat. 1 hour this guy bored us. Now it's our chance. He has to hear us 1 hour now. Yes, I'm open to your suggestions, corrections. Please tell me if you want to share something now. Yes.
Sense of justice thing.
Yeah.
Everything that you have said flies in the face of justice. I mean, the person has perceived injustice. Amba perceived it, Karna perceived it.
Yeah.
So should they not pursue it at all to get justice?
No, you will perceive it, but how do you respond now? That is in your hand. Right? You may perceive something. That's why I said, when we are in knowledge, when we come to Srimad Bhagavatam, remember I said everyone will be tested. These are our testing grounds. Situations will come, right? Situations will come in our life, right? See, remember those cassette days when we would have audio cassettes, video cassettes, winding, unwinding would happen, right? Would happen. Similarly, situations will come in our life, good times and bad times. How do you behave during those times? That is in your hand. Conditioning has happened. Unconditioning is in Krishna's hand. We only pump our false ego. But when that false ego gets punctured during such incidences or instances, that response is in your hand. Something or other will keep on happening in life. How do you respond? Right? Like, I'll just give one example to you. In the 4th canto, example comes of Dhruva Maharaj. Right? Dhruva Maharaj has taken darshan of the Lord, blessed with Dhruva, Loka and everything. He is supposed to go after 36,000 years of rule and everything. And what happens when he comes back and he finds that his brother Uttama, he has been killed by one yaksha, one clan of people. And Dhruva goes out and wages a battle and he decides, I'm going to kill the entire yaksha race. And Brahmaji, Swayambhu, and they appear and they say, hey, Dhruva, it doesn't look good. You should not do this. For one yaksha has killed your brother. Why do you want to finish that entire race? At that point, Dhruva submits. He feels that hurt. My brother has been, killed like this. But as soon as he is told by a superior, this, he submits. He surrenders. And that's why Dhruva Maharaj's name is in Bhagavatam. If Dhruva Maharaj would not listen and continue, his name will be in Mahabharata. That's the difference. When we see characters in Bhagavatam, see their response. Silly behavior, right? Now, what happens with this tit for tat behavior? See, if you see the chain of actions here, not getting up and receiving Parikshit Maharaj, right? When Shamik Rishi behaved, was it a big hurt? Not so much. Parikshit felt like that. Then Parikshit's response was, I'll put a snake, dead snake. Nothing happened. He just removed it later, right? But now one action, the reaction was a little severe. After this, another reaction will come. Shamik Rishi's son, Shringi, who is taking bath in the river, some Arbhaka word comes in Bhagavatam. Some boys, untrained boys, they go to the river and they tell, masala mirch laga ke bolte na, What happened, The king came and he took a snake and put it around your father. The snake bit your father. He's dead. He doesn't move. See, what has Parikshit done? And Shringi now, he has to respond. The sage's son has to respond now. He just has heard something. What did he do? He took the river water, Kaushiki river. He took the water and he pronounced a curse. In 7 days, one Takshaka bird will come, bite Parikshit Maharaj, and he will die. Only 7 days of life remain. I curse him. Now look at the action and reaction. It just becomes severe, more severe. Something that Bhagavatam regrets, that a person like Parikshit Maharaj is no more in the planet. Only within just 7 days he got with him. But then what does Parikshit Maharaj do? His response? That is to be discussed now. Now Parikshit Maharaj could have said, "Bula us bachche ko idhar leke aa idhar usko ulta latkao us bachche ko." What does he do? He says, "I give up my kingdom and I go to the banks of Ganges and I take association of the sadhus there and I hear." And then what happens? Then Shukdev Goswami appears and then Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken, and Prabhupada says, see, it so happened by the will of the Lord. If you just see action, reaction, you will never come to this kind of that Krishna is also the ultimate cause. With Pandavas, Krishna chose Arjuna to give Bhagavad Gita. And then Arjuna's grandson Parikshit was chosen to give Bhagavatam. Krishna also is orchestrating something here. Why should Arjuna go through such a painful situation? Bhagavad Gita bola na, dharma sansthapanarthaya. I have to use my devotee only there. I have to give Bhagavatam. Then I have to use Parikshit Maharaj. And Parikshit Maharaj's submission and surrender. Forget it. I don't continue this tit for tat behavior. One person has to lay down the arms and say, it has to stop somewhere. Otherwise, I and you keep on taking life after life after. There is no liberation. There is no coming out of it. Amba keeps on taking birth. She harmed herself. Okay. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. Oh, thank you. Yes.
I sing a small bhajan like this, 2 minutes.
I can sing for 1 hour also, but they won't allow. You take permission. He's saying, can we sing a bhajan? Oh, he wants to sing. I thought he's asking me to sing. So I thought Krishna ke show permission le lo. Mala ye to aage ja raha hai. Ye to rukta hi nahi hai. Okay. Yes, please.